2015, I just felt tremendously ill, kind of like a salmonella type-ish, and they couldn't find out what was going on, and then I became deadly ill, and that was the story for 6 years. My name is Pablo. I'm originally from Mexico City, but I moved to San Diego when I was 11. So it was really weird because it didn't behave as regular Lyme. And I think that was the roughest thing, which, by the way, I got tested 3 times throughout the years for Lyme, but their testing is so stupidly mediocre. It just never showed up. My symptoms began with, I lived with fever for 4 years. It just never left me. So that in and of itself is brutal. And then it would start with a stiffening of my muscles and pain on my muscles. And then that would go into my joints and in my bones. And it just felt like if you grab a glass and break it, with a hammer, that was a pain. They didn't really know what was wrong with me. They thought I had a certain type of cancer, and then because they couldn't pin anything down, I ended up being something called hypereosinophilic, which is just an overproduction of a white blood cell. But at the levels that I had, it was killing my organs. So they would control me with prednisone. That was it. They really couldn't do that, and just trying to control the pain. And I would spend 24 days in a hospital at times. So they really didn't know what was going on with me. And they called me undiagnosed. One doctor called me patient 0. I think the biggest part of this is in the medical world when you're in so much pain, because they can't quantify pain. And you're asking for pain medication because you're dying out of pain. Especially with Lyme, your pain is unbelievable. After like a couple of years, they started treating me like I was a drug addict. That really hit me, that I couldn't believe that doctors were treating me that way. So yeah, it really messes with you, but I feel very blessed because I have the Lord and my family. So in that regard, I felt taken care of, but it destroys you emotionally when the doctor comes and treats you that way. And my brother-in-law visited me in the hospital, and he says he was really angry. Not only because I was almost dying, but also because of the treatment of the doctors. And he's like, we gotta change. And I agreed with him. And he told me there's a cancer clinic in Arizona. We just knew it was cancer, that's it. But they could help with bizarre sicknesses. Because I was an enigma. We called in, and Nick Tribuco answered the phone call, and I told him all my symptoms. And he was like, yeah, come over, get tested, and we'll go from there. The testing in Envita is so specific and so elaborate and so just non-conventional that they're able to see beyond what normal testing can do. When Nick answered that phone call, his tone, the way he waited, the way he answered all of my questions, he wasn't hasting to hang up the phone. Like, it was different, but in a amazing way. I was like, I can't believe I had a phone call with somebody in the medical world that lasted more than 5 minutes. It was crazy. We asked him so many questions. My dad, my mom, myself, my brother-in-law, and he was so patient that we were like, if that's the guy that receives the phone calls, there's something in that clinic. I came, I think it was June, for 5 days, got all the testing, went back home, got the call, they got the test backs, and they're like, yeah, no, you're not only positive, you're like brutally positive to one of the strands. And plus the toxicity levels of my blood were just, I had mold, just all the type of stuff, but very, very high concentration. That's why my immune system was so out of control. And then September 5th, I arrived here, and September 7th, I started my treatment. I have Dr. Coffin. I love him. He's just amazing. Again, that same demeanor. For the first time, I thought I was talking to a doctor like this and not like this. He explained to me everything. We went through every single blood test result, and he explained everything. It was a long conversation. But by the time that I got out, I knew more of Lyme than in my 6 years of being sick. So in the beginning, he started a little bit slower than normal. After the 4th week, the heavy treatment started, and which was 3 antibiotics plus the rest, and IRAD, and apheresis, and the treatment that he designed for me being such a reactive case, worked for me. And if there's somebody who's like hesitant because they're reactive too, like believe me, your doctor will be able to custom make a plan for you. This is not a cookie cutter type of treatment. Everybody's treatment is different. I talked to my other Lyme friends. Lyme, that's the word that we use for Lymes. They all have different approaches because it's catered to each and every one of our necessities. For me, it's such an easy question. It's just don't hesitate. Get tested. Sometimes we have that fear that, no, you gotta find out. Because knowledge is power. The more you know, the more powerful your treatment can become.